posted by user Bricks Saturn. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts. Trying to keep a long introduction short, my mother has always kept diaries as long as I can remember. I was helping her clean out the garage when I found one of the many boxes of diaries. I was looking through one of the box and one caught my interest, titled 1985. That's the year one was born, so I started reading through it. For the most part it was just private stuff about her split from my father. What caught my interest was the September through December logs. There will be some lapses in the logs because they contain some very, very personal information. I'll only be sharing the ones that caught my interest. September 23rd. Moved in early to my new house with the help of my brothers while Mom watched Alex. That's me. Just happy to be on my own again. October 2nd. Was startled awake this morning by Alex screaming. He managed to fall out of his crib and busted his nose up really good. Looks like I'm going to have to lower his crib. October 17th. Sitting in the living room watching the news this evening, I was startled by a lot of thud coming from Alex's room. After making sure Alex was still in bed, I went outside to see what could have caused that thud. Walking out on the porch, I seen all of my garbage cans thrown against the house and crushed. I filed a police report to alert them that it might be Alex's father. October 30th. Carving pumpkins with my mom and Alex was great fun. It made me forget most of what happened this month. That was until dinner time. My mom, myself, Alex and my brother were sitting down to eat and all of us heard the front window be banged on. We all get up to look. We found all of the jack-o'-lanterns smashed against the front window, and pieces tossed on the roof. I filed another police report. November 21st. I woke up to the first snowstorm of the season. I can't wait for Alex to experience snow. After breakfast I got Alex ready, we went out to shovel the driveway. Going around back to the shed to get shovel, I saw what could only be described as single-file horse hoof prints walking from the oil tank all the way to Alex's bedroom window. November 25th. Alex's father showed up today. Alex and I will be staying at my mother's house for a few days. I cannot be dealing with this alone. November 30th. Alex's father will no longer be a problem. My restraining order is now in effect. He's been in my house though while I was at my mother's house. I came home to all my cabinets open, the fridge left open and the shower on full blast. I'm just glad this is over. December 2nd. I was almost in a frenzy this morning. I couldn't find Alex anywhere. After looking around I found him in his closest, sleeping with the door shut. I can't explain how he got in there. December 6th. My mother and I were watching a movie this evening. The most peculiar events took place. My kitchen sounded like I was hosting a party. We heard dishes being rattled, we heard voices muffled as if talking in the crowd. We heard the water turn on. Myself and Mom got up to look and it's like someone hit a switch, it was just gone. Mom is staying with me tonight. She thinks my house is haunted. December 8th. Mum and I got back from Christmas shopping. We called the police because all the doors and windows were left open in my house. The police gave me the all clear and nothing was taken. I hope this wasn't Alex's father. December 11th. Mom was watching Alex while I was at bingo. She told me something scared the bejeebers out of her. She was watching television in the living room when she heard loud thumping like someone was running through the house. Mum wants me out of the house immediately. December 13th, afternoon. Alex and I were watching a Christmas special on television, when two figures caught the corner of my eye. They walked down the hallway and right to Alex's room. December 13th. Evening. Alex is at my mom's house. My brother, loving everything Mom and I have told him, is spending the night at my house. I'm almost too nervous to go to sleep. December 14th. I had a terrible dream last night. It was the same figures I seen yesterday. They were wandering and screaming all night, "Where's the boy? Where's the boy?" I woke up in a cold sweat because of it. My brother said he couldn't sleep a wink because all night he kept hearing the windows and the doors rattling like somebody was playing with them. December 15th. Alex and I are staying over at my mum's house until the holidays are over. Mom feels better this way, having me out of that house. She tells me I need to sell it. December 19th. Stop by my house today to get some more clothes and the presents for everyone. Again, all the doors and windows were open. I called the police. Once again they gave me the all clear and said nothing was taken. I think they're looking for Alex's father this time. December 23rd. My neighbors called today and told me all the doors and windows were open in the house. I called the police. I'm waiting for them to arrive. Once again they give me the all clear and recommend I get an alarm system. December 27th. I had the same nightmares again. The same figures were wandering the halls and asking where's the boy. Mom says I'm not going back to that house. Mom sold the house in the summer of '86. She has no contact with the original people who bought the house. But she still is in contact with our former neighbors. They said the house has been sold 8 more times since Mom sold it and is for sale again. I'd like to know what everyone thinks. Do you think this was a proper hunting? My mum stands by that it was. She was never going to tell me until I found this diary. I don't know what to make of this. I'd like to know what you think and if anyone else has any similar experiences they'd like to share. Posted by user Automail Mama. I hope this isn't too long. Unexplained things have happened to me all my life, and boy howdy, do I have a lot of experiences to post here. I'll start by laying down the location. I can get a bit descriptive, so forgive me in advance. This all happened in my childhood home, which we sold 4 years ago, in the Griffith Park neighborhoods of LA. My grandparents had moved in with my mom about 60 years ago. My grandpa passed away before I was born, and my grandma didn't want to live alone, so she gave the house to my mom, with the condition that she was to live in the duplex, and my mom can raise her family in the main house. It was a 2-story house built in the late 40s, with a duplex that was attached by a door, just to the left of the front door. Our side of the house, as I called it, the main house. The main house was big, and the duplex was small, but it was an entire apartment. This is where my grandma lived for my entire childhood, teen years. Our side of the house was, so I was told, an holistic doctor's office a few years before my grandparents moved in. The doctor worked out of the duplex, which functioned as his waiting room, living room, and exam rooms, kitchen and bedroom, and lived in the main house, along with 2 or 3 live-in nurses that worked for him. My family decided it was best not to tell me this info until my late teens, after I have had multiple strange things happen to me. Come on fam. Anyway, I'd say my first experience in the house happened when my dad decided to seal off a hallway that connected the master bedroom to a smaller bedroom on the opposite side of the house. My mom wanted to make the two rooms separate, so my dad put walls up on either side of the hall, making closets for each room, and essentially creating a big, empty, sealed-off hallway in between. The other room was my room, but I hated it. For years before I realized I was a magnet for paranormal activity, I thought I was just full of anxiety because sleeping in that room alone always filled me with fear. I remember feeling like someone was going to come up the stairs while I was sleeping and hurt me. I often slept under the bed, with a wall of pillows barricading myself in. My parents would just brush me off, chalking it up to too many scary movies with my older sisters, 11 and 12 years my senior. Being in that room always felt weird, but being near the closet, or even worse, having my back to the closet, filled me with that strange urgency to get away, or face what was behind me. On the wall that was created by my dad's renovation, we hung this painting of a cat that my grandfather, my dad's dad, sent me for my birthday. One night while I was asleep, on top of the bed, my first mistake, the painting fell off the wall. I jumped up, and looked into the closet just as my dad burst through my door, about to yell at me for breaking something. When he saw me standing there, wide-eyed and practically hyperventilating, he looked in the closet. The painting hadn't fallen off the wall, instead the glass had shattered out of the frame. On its own. And it didn't just shatter, it exploded. There was glass all the way to the door of the closet, which was about 5 feet deep. He told me it was just the temperature of the house changing so drastically that it shattered the glass. You, Dad? Not sure I believed you even then. We cleaned up the glass as best we could at 2 a.m. and went back to sleep. Needless to say, I stayed up until sunrise, and slept in the living room once the house was awake and I had people round me. After that, late at night, I would often hear someone walking around downstairs but never said anything, because I always thought it was my dad, who has bad insomnia. A few years later, when both my sisters had moved out, and my brother took the good room with the balcony, I moved into his old room directly across from our parents' room. This room had a huge, floor-to-ceiling, built-in bookshelf, and a closet with a 4x4 square hatch to go up into the attic inside. The little square hatch and I were not cool. I was about 12-13 years old when I moved into this room, and the closet most definitely turned into nightmare fuel. My dad had removed the door because he figured out my magic trick to clean my room and replaced the door with an old sheet on a curtain rod. I would often come home from school or wherever and the attic hatch would be open. Not wide open, but the piece of wood that laid over the hatch would have been slid over about 1/2 inch. My family is very matter-of-fact and stoic, so there's no way they were trying to prank me. 1, because I never told anyone about my fear of the attic, and 2, we never did that kind of shit, as much as I wanted us to be that close. That didn't stop me from asking though. I made sure that it was no one in my family. That went on for 2 years. Here's where I lost it. This is the point when I had enough. I was standing in front of said closet with my dog, Duke. He was a very protective Springer Spaniel I got for my 9th birthday. My back was to the closet door, curtain, and I was petting Duke. I felt something brush the back of my leg, and looked down to my ankle. It was the curtain, moving as if there was a strong breeze. Duke whined, and I felt a hand on the back of my leg through the curtain. It felt like my leg was pushed forward, so with that momentum I took a step and ran. I ran through the house, with my dog at my heels, crying and shouting for my dad. Dad didn't help much. He sat me down and told me his paranormal experience in the house. He had seen one of the nurses walking through the house at 2 a.m. when he was sitting in the kitchen reading, and if you wanna hear that story I'll be glad to tell you. But I feel like this has gone on far too long and I have to go clock out of work. Oops. I still have weird things happen to me wherever I go. I still see things out of the corner of my eye. I still feel like a magnet. And I kind of love it. And if you actually read this whole thing, you deserve a cookie.